The darkness beyond Pluto is not empty. It never was. 3 times further than Pluto from the Sun, past the last familiar landmark of our solar system, something ancient and massive sits in perfect, undisturbed silence. It does not spin with urgency. It does not chase the warmth of a distant star. It simply exists, cold, dense, and patient, as if it has been quietly waiting for us to find it. Its name is Eris, and the moment we found her, nothing in the universe was ever the same again. She was not supposed to be there. That is the first thing you must understand. Every model, every calculation, every carefully constructed theory about the architecture of our solar system had placed an invisible wall somewhere beyond Neptune. Past that boundary, the story of the planets was supposed to end. The textbooks had been written, the answer had been agreed upon. 9 planets, clean, final, settled. But the universe does not negotiate with textbooks. In January of 2005, astronomer Mike Brown and his team at the Palomar Observatory were combing through archived sky images when a faint, slow-moving point of light caught their attention. It was moving the way only a member of our solar system moves, deliberately, measurably, bound by gravity to the same sun we orbit. They measured its distance. They calculated its size, and then they sat in silence because what the numbers were telling them was impossible. This was not a small rock drifting in the outer dark. This was a world larger than Pluto, a world that had been hiding in plain sight for billions of years, undetected, unknown, waiting with the patience of something that has never once needed to hurry. Her orbit around the sun takes 557 years to complete. A number so vast it collapses the entirety of human civilization into something barely worth mentioning. When Eris was last at this exact position in her orbit, the Renaissance was still a fresh memory. Shakespeare had not yet written his first work. The great empires of Asia and Europe were still carving the world between them, unaware that in a few centuries, a pale speck of light in the outermost darkness would force humanity to question everything it believed about its own cosmic neighborhood. To Eris, all of that was barely a breath. She orbits in what scientists call the scattered disk, a region so remote that the sun, the furnace that powers every living thing on Earth, is reduced to little more than a cold, brilliant diamond set against infinite black. There is no warmth here. No solar wind to stir the surface, no seasons in any meaningful sense, only the glacial crawl of a 5,500-year cycle that marks time in a language humans were never designed to speak. If you could stand on her surface, the silence would not just surround you, it would press into you. There is no atmosphere to carry sound, no geology still active enough to groan beneath your feet. The temperature hovers near -230 degrees Celsius. Approaching the theoretical floor of cold itself, the threshold where matter begins to forget how to move. At this temperature, the nitrogen and methane that float freely in Earth's atmosphere do not exist as gases. They crystallize, they fall. Slowly over geological ages, they have settled onto the surface of Eris like a shroud, coating her in a brilliant, mirror-like crust of frozen ice that reflects sunlight with unusual efficiency. She is, in a way, one of the brightest objects in the outer solar system. A world made of frozen air, shining in the dark, seen by no one. Eris is accompanied in this silence by a single moon, small dark named Astronomy, after the goddess of lawlessness, daughter of Eris herself. There is something quietly beautiful about this pairing. A lone world and her one companion turning around each other in the vast, unhurried dark, untouched by the urgency that defines life in the inner solar system. Astronomy circles her in just under 16 Earth days, a relationship so precisely measured by astronomers that it gave us something extraordinary. By watching how Astronomy orbits, scientists were able to calculate the mass of Eris with remarkable precision. What they found changed everything. Eris, though similar in diameter to Pluto, is approximately 27% more massive. She is denser, heavier, more substantial than the planet that had held the title of 9th in our solar system for over 7 decades. This was not a small discovery. This was a fault line running through the entire foundation of planetary science. Because if Eris counted as a planet, then so did dozens of other objects in the outer solar system. The definition of planet, something no scientist had ever truly been forced to formalize, was suddenly not a philosophical nicety, it was a crisis. In August of 2006, the International Astronomical Union convened in Prague. Scientists from around the world gathered to answer a question they had never thought they would need to ask. What, exactly, is a planet? For days, the debate continued. Definitions were proposed, challenged, rewritten. Old assumptions were examined under the harsh light of new data. And in the end, when the votes were counted, a new category had been born. The dwarf planet and Pluto, the beloved ninth planet, had been reclassified. The solar system now had 8 planets. Eris had not asked for any of this. She had not moved, had not changed, had not done anything except exist as she had always existed, in the silent dark beyond the edge of everything familiar. She simply was, and in being, she forced us to confront the uncomfortable truth that our categories, our neat, confident labels for the universe, are human inventions. They are maps we draw to make sense of a territory so vast and indifferent it cannot possibly care whether our maps are accurate. This is what makes Eris more than a scientific discovery. She is a lesson, a reminder that the universe is not organized around our understanding of it, that for every model we build, for every boundary we draw, for every story we decide has reached its final chapter, something waits beyond the edge of our certainty, patient, silent, and heavier than we imagined. Science is not the slow accumulation of settled facts. It is the ongoing, humbling act of realizing how much the darkness still holds. Eris sits out there still, moving through her long orbit with no awareness of the chaos she caused. In a few hundred years, she will be at her closest approach to the sun. Still impossibly distant, still impossibly cold. Future generations may send a probe. They may photograph her cracked, icy surface in detail. They may stand in the same stunned silence that Mike Brown's team felt in 2005, confronted by a world that should not have surprised them, but did. Because the universe always surprises us. It always has something waiting in the dark. Eris is not the villain of Pluto's story. She is not a usurper or a destroyer. She is simply a world, ancient, massive, and indifferent, that had the audacity to exist beyond our expectations. In doing so, she did not diminish our solar system. She expanded it. She broke the comfortable frame we had placed around it and revealed that the picture was always larger than we allowed ourselves to see. She is not the end of the story. She is the reminder that there is no end, only more darkness. And within that darkness, more worlds, more questions, more humbling evidence that the universe is stranger and vaster and more magnificent than any single generation of humans will ever fully comprehend. Eris endures, in silence, in cold, in the infinite patience of a world that has never once needed us to know her name, and yet, in being found, changed ours forever.